For today's assignment, you're going to review the rules about creating dialogue using proper punctuation. Today, you're going to add quotation marks to the dialogue in the sentences provided in the slides. I'm going to walk you through how to do a couple of these sentences. Remember, one of our dialogue rules yesterday that we learned was that quotation marks surround any text that is coming out of a character's mouth, so any spoken words from a character. If I were to think about it like a comic book or a graphic novel, these would be words that would be inside of a speech bubble. For the assignment, we're going to look at the sentences and we're going to add quotation marks. If you look at your computer keyboard, you'll see the quotation mark is next to the Enter key on the right side of your keyboard. However, if you click on the quotation mark key, I'm going to click on it right here, it will create an apostrophe, which is just one quotation mark. Now, the answer is not to do two apostrophes and think you made a quotation mark. That is actually just two apostrophes, okay? So to make a quotation mark, you're going to have to hold down the Shift key and then hit that button. That makes two marks all at once, and those are quotation marks. The first sentence says, "The old man muttered, 'The world ain't all it's cracked up to be.'" The first part, "the old man muttered," I know that's a tag because of the word muttered. It's telling me that this is how the old man said the next part of the sentence. I also notice that the is capitalized because we capitalize any sentence that is spoken. So next to the word the, I'm going to push Shift and the button next to my Enter key to create a quotation mark. I'm going to go to the end of the old man's dialogue when he's done speaking after the word be, and I'm going to push Shift and the quotation mark key again. Notice that I put the quotation mark on the outside of the period. The period in the sentence should be included in the old man's dialogue. Looking at question or sentence number 2, "Has anyone seen my coat?" Hilda asked. Hilda asked is a tag. It tells me who is speaking and how she is speaking. She's asking. So I can go back to the beginning and see that "has anyone seen my coat" is the words that Hilda is speaking out loud. I'm going to put a quotation mark in the beginning, and I'm going to put a quotation mark after the question mark. For sentence number 3, "If I were you, I'd just forget about it," Taylor said. "Jim is not interested." This is an example of when the tag is in the middle. Taylor said is a tag. I can tell it's a tag because it says the name and it says the word said. I know Taylor said, "If I were you, I'd just forget about it." So I'm going to begin that dialogue with a quotation mark. And after the comma, I'm going to put the second quotation mark. The first part of Taylor's dialogue is, "If I were you, I'd just forget about it." Taylor's not done talking though. After Taylor said, "Jim is not interested," is more dialogue coming from Taylor. So I'm going to put a quotation mark around "Jim is not interested." Number 4, oops, sorry about that. For number 4, it says, "We're having a pop quiz this morning," Mr. Nissen announced. Mr. Nissen announced is the tag. It tells me who is speaking and how he is speaking. He's announcing. The words coming out of his mouth are, "We're having a pop quiz this morning." Normally, "we're having a pop quiz this morning" would have a period at the end, but when we do dialogue, we change periods into commas just like it was in this sentence. Notice the comma is inside the quotation mark. The last sentence says, "Looking at my calendar," James said, "I don't think I am free." Again, this is an example of the tag being in the middle. James said. So what did James say? Well, James began his dialogue by saying, looking at my calendar, I don't think I am free. Notice when I added those quotation marks, this comma after calendar is inside the quotation mark, and the period at the end is inside the quotation mark. However, when I say James said, comma, this comma does not belong in the quotation mark. So there's some examples of how to add quotation marks to the dialogue sentences. You'll notice on slide number 2, there are 5 more dialogue sentences that I'd like you to try on your own. Again, you should think about where the tag is. Remember, a tag is who is talking and how they are talking. The tag will let me know where my quotation marks should end or begin. Make sure you pay attention to if tags are at the beginning, the middle, or the end of the dialogue, because they really can go anywhere. All right, so your assignment today is to complete slide number 1 and slide number 2. If you accidentally mess up the slides while you're working on them, slide number 3 has the original sentences. So you can go back and fix anything. You can always hit the Control Z key to undo, or you can look back at the original sentence. You might need to click the zoom button right here and zoom into the original sentences as well. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow.